Hey guys, BJ the Brave here, back with another video for you, and this time we're going to be all the Chaos reinforcement drop cards have been revealed. Longtim, the Ecclesia, and myself revealed those in separate videos. If you haven't seen those, go back and watch them. But don't worry, today in this particular video we got you covered. We're going to go through all of the cards. We're going to give them a review and a rating out of 5. And I am joined by my special guest and Chaos Extraordinaire, Buggy. How are you, Buggy?
Hi BJ, nice to be here again. And
Yeah.
this was a really crazy reinforcement drop, and yeah, now we talk about some cards. I'm really
Absolutely.
excited for it, and yeah.
Well, I can think of no one better that I'd rather talk to. I think you and Ecclesia are probably like the Chaos go-to people that I think of, and you know, you've had a lot of success recently with them, so it's going to be cool, man. It's going to be cool to get into it. You know, understand all the how you see it, was ist dein Lieblingskarten, and all that's the good stuff. So yeah, I'm really hyped. So what we're gonna do, guys, for this video is we're gonna basically just go back through the cards very quickly, and I want to kind of get Buggy's reaction to them. We're going to give them the review rating. So if you've seen how we review the cards, you'll be used to the 1 to 5 system at the minute. 1 basically means it's unplayable. 2 means overall it's a pretty bad card. 3 is kind of like it's situational, like it can be good in the right situation, but otherwise it's pretty meh, pretty okay, pretty average. 4 is it's a good card. These are the cards that the 4s are the cards that most of the kind of decks are kind of like the staples they're sort of made out of, and 5s are the S tier kind of meta defining cards. So that's kind of like roughly what we're going on. It's not an exact science, of course. It's mine and Buggy's opinion, and it's also our opinion before we've actually got our hands on the card. So of course in 3 or 4 weeks some of these ratings might change, so take them for what they are. We're having a bit of fun here, guys. You know, please don't hold us to to
Yes.
account. So let's dive in then, Buggy, because we got about 10 cards to get through. Just a second, let me just bring up this. Yeah, okay, so let's work our way through. Whoop, what's going on? How did I do that? Okay. Oh, yeah, something like that. All right, so let's work our way through them then. So first card we'll talk about then is the veteran Havoc, which is a 6 energy, rally 4, deal deal 4 damage to an enemy troop. What are your thoughts on this one?
Ah, first of all, I thought this card is okay, is solid. Now, after the drop of the Idolatrous Despoilers, I think this card could be very good, because the 4 damage also stacks with the vulnerable, and we all know that Chaos has much problems against flying units. So yeah, it could be a good way to deal with the flying units.
Yeah.
And the only problem is, of course, he can't hit stealth units, or he can't hit
No.
units with
You can hit
camouflage.
camo. You
He
can hit
can hit,
camo.
yeah.
Mm.
Okay, my bad. Yeah, sure, he can hit camo. Yeah, so
Which is way better than like if this was a stratagem, right? That said deal 4 damage.
yeah. The problem is, of course, the stats 3/6 isn't very good, and 5 health is okay, but the rally effect is good. So I would rate him with 3 stars, I would say.
I'm gonna give him a 3. Interesting. See, so my thoughts on this card is that this card is flying under the radar. I think this card is better than people realize, because where I'm coming from with that is that I've played a lot of different CCGs, right? And the thing about this card is, like, obviously if you just look at the stats and you think about a 6 drop, you'll say, oh well, it's not very good. But at the end
Yeah.
of the day, it has a very powerful rally effect. It's not particularly sexy, but in the back and forth of a typical game of Warpforge, like, this is a very it's going to be by turn 6 pretty much a removal. Do you know what I mean? It's pretty much going to be able to remove, especially with combined with like your hero attacking. or combined, like you said, with the ability to make things vulnerable, this card will be a removal. And I think the instant ability to impact the board, I think we're going to start to see this in a lot of decks. And as you also rightly pointed out, that it deals with flyers, no problem. It gets around camouflage, no problem. It has incredible synergy with vulnerable. I mean, you imagine playing Tyranids, right? And you use Acid Rain. You choose Acid Rain. You use your Lord to give them +1 vulnerable. Maybe you've already got the 3-drop. That's another +1 vulnerable. Suddenly this is like deal 7 damage. I mean, it's that is now who gives a damn like what my stats are if I've already done 7 damage. You've now got a 5 health unit with 6 range to get rid of. I mean, it's no slouch. It's not like a drone, right? It's a decent body.
Yeah.
But for something that's already done that impact, so I'm actually going to give this. Like, I think this is towards the top end of a 4 for me. I don't know whether I'd go as far as saying it's a 5. It depends how good the vulnerable synergy ends up being. But it could even be the bottom end of a 5 in practice. But I'm gonna play it a bit safe and say I think this could be top end of the 4 for me, to be honest. Which warlord or what chaos? This is where you'll know way more than me. Which warlords and which kind of chaos archetypes do you think this will be better
in? It's good in my Abaddon Black Crusade deck, I would say too.
Okay.
But also in Harken decks or the new Warlord also can benefit from this card. So he's very flexible, and but I'm thinking, would I change one Venom Crawler for this card? That's the thing.
No, but that to me feels a little bit like, would I drop my veteran Stormboy for a Squig Buggy? Like, no,
Yeah, okay.
They're both brilliant. I play both of them. It's like, which trust me, I remember having this debate with myself, saying, well, I can't play 4 flankers, until eventually I realised, actually, when they're this good, yes, you can. You know, because both this and the Venom Crawler impact the board immediately. In fact, you might actually prefer to play this on E6 over the Venom Crawler and prefer to play Venom Crawler on E7 so that you can get the guarantee with, like, say, Abaddon's ability or something like that. But yeah, and that's the other good thing about this card is you can play it on curve every time, right? There's no
that's right. Yeah.
All right, I'm convincing you, but I'm pretty hype about this card. I think it's something that Chaos also have suffered a little bit from, not necessarily having good come from behind mechanics. Execution's a bit underwhelming, and obviously you've got the Spawndom's very good, but outside of that, there's not tons of come from behind mechanics. I think this adds that. So, and you just made a great point with Harken. Oh my god, yeah, Harken. Imagine Harken. Imagine you've played Idolatrous Despoilers and Harken's doing 3 blast to things, and then this guy's coming down and hitting that for another 4. That's 7, isn't it? Oh man, it's so disgusting.
That's sick.
So disgusting. I'm so sorry for Swarmlord. Yeah. Oh my god. Oh gosh, that deals with Gene Stealers too, right? 3 health. You play Despoilers and then you Harken and the blast kills Gene Stealers instantly. Oh my god. That's savage. It's so savage.
Much potential.
Gosh. Okay, let's move on before we get. So this is spreading corruption. This, I think Ecclesia revealed this one, which was give vulnerable 4 to an enemy troop, and it says if it dies this turn, apply this effect to another random troop. So it's interesting how you read that, because if you give this to something and don't kill it, it still has vulnerable 4 on the next turn, right? Just saying, if in the turn that it dies, essentially, you then apply the effect. What do you think to this?
At first I thought this card is very good. Now, after the other effect of the battlefield, rest of the battle, the vulnerable effect, I think it's hard to say, but I think this card is too much. Maybe too much. it could be maybe in other decks, not the Black Crusade decks. Maybe Harken would be better there. But I don't know. The dream scenario is, of course, you kill a unit, it goes to the other unit, you kill this unit, and so you clear the whole board. But I don't know. In most cases, I think you will just point out one troop, and for the rest, you have other AoE spells like Traitor's Hate and Born them, and now the new card Idolatrous Despoiler. So maybe I have to test this card. It's really hard to say, but it's not a bad card at all. So I would rate it 3 stars. It's good. The effect is good. It can be a full clear, but it's not so easy.
See, it reminds me a little bit of obviously you've got the Necron. Is it Curse, right? Which puts
yes.
on everything, but it's just
Yeah.
and then you've got the obviously the Tyrannid one that came out more recently. What I like about this one is the ability to kind of this is if I'm understanding correctly the way the card works. I think it's the ability to bank the vulnerable and keep spreading the corruption, right? So in other words, like you can imagine that it's E5 turn. We put this on something.
Yes.
And he's got another unit. So we really want to be playing it when there are 2 troops on the board, right? We hit one unit, the Abaddon or whoever hits the unit, which means we can kill us up to a 6-drop. Passes the spread into the next thing, but we're banking that for next turn, right? Also, it's now his turn. He's like, do I actually want to attack and kill myself so that this can't keep spreading before I play another troop? He's going to have to think about that decision. Or then it's back to you, and so you can do the same thing the next turn. It stops him from going too wide because he's also thinking, do I even deploy another troop? Because this, see what I mean? Like if he can survive in his turn, then he's like, well, if I deploy another troop, that's going to then get vulnerable. I kind of feel like this card could be a high skill ceiling card. Like this could end up being a card that really good players do well with. But it's perhaps not easy to truly maximize. But it could be really annoying. It could become so annoying for your opponent. But imagine Tyranids where they're trying to put 2-3 big bodies down and use synapse. I mean, this is insane against Tyranids, I think.
Yeah, against certain matchups, of course, yes. But,
and the bounce, by the way. So imagine, like, Tyranids is a good one. Imagine they've got a stealth unit and a normal unit. Put it on the normal unit. It's a way of bouncing the vulnerable onto the stealth unit, right? Like guarantee.
Oh, that's good.
Yes, exactly. Okay. Because then now he wants to attack you with his Death Leaper. Oh, he's got vulnerable 4 on. He's going to kill himself. So I actually think this could be.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
I think this might be. I think this might be a 4 for me. You know, again, probably lower. I think the Havoc's easier to use than this. Much easier to use. So,
but it can go only to another troop after I play it, so it can't go to another troop after the turn, maybe, and the troop dies. It's only the effect in my turn. You know what I mean?
If it dies this turn, give vulnerable 4 to an enemy troop. If it dies this turn, apply this effect to another random troop.
So if the troop don't die this turn, and the enemy's turn, then it doesn't spread anymore.
If that's true, then I would say yes, it's definitely a 3. If it's how I was envisioning it, then it's I think it's a 4 because like there's some insane chaining you can do there. But it depends, like
that's what I understood. That you target a troop, and only if you kill this troop, it spreads.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and if you don't kill this troop, and the enemy's turn, it doesn't spread anymore.
Interesting.
And that's the problem. So, of
Yeah.
course, you do it, you kill the troop, it's spread to another troop, but you don't kill the other troop, so it doesn't spread anymore.
Which is a bit of a shame if that is the way, because even just the name, Spreading Corruption, I think my way of describing it would be much cooler.
Yeah.
And in keeping, but yeah, you might be right. If that is the way it is, I would say it's a 3. I'd say it's a 3 for sure. But if you are able to chain it the way I was saying, then I think it's much stronger. All right, what kind of builds do you see this one running in, and which warlords benefit most?
I think it's of course the new Warlord.
New one, yeah. So it becomes vulnerable 5.
You can stack the vulnerable effect and maybe Harken, but it's too much for Abaddon. There are better options. I think, in my opinion, there are better options and safer options. But like you said, against certain matchups, it's a very good cards. Yeah.
Let's give it a 3. Give it a 3. It's
Yeah.
situationally good. What about this guy? So this guy is both, I think, a card in its own right, and it's a card that we can create more of them from a legendary. We'll come back to that in a minute. But as a card in its own right, a common card, it's a 4-drop, and it deals 1 damage. Obviously, it combines with vulnerable, so that 1 damage can quickly become more. How do you feel about this one?
I mean, this card is free. You get it free on hand. So
on the
it's a good
from the legendary.
on the legendary.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, of course, but it's a free card you get. So so the troop on its own isn't really good.
No.
But if you get a card on hand, I don't say no. It's okay.
Yeah.
Again, maybe you have to ping 1 damage. So against flying units, maybe the units only has 1 life left. Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's not bad. It's not good. It's okay.
And that deal, those pings are quite important.
Yes.
I think, and especially when those pings that can often be 2 damage, right, with the vulnerable again. So.
Yeah, and maybe it's 4 energy, and you don't have a 4-drop. You can drop this guy.
Yeah. Yeah, especially once it's doing 2 damage with the vulnerable,
Yeah.
it's going to be very good. I mean, I think it's I think it's bad to okay on its own, but like you said, getting this free off the legendary becomes much better. We'll look at that in a second. So then we got the Meltagun Legionary, which is a 5-drop, only 5 health, 5 range, 2 melee attack, which is blast 2. After receiving a dark pack, deal 3 damage to a random enemy. What do you think?
Do I really want to waste my dark packs on this guy? I don't know. I would not. I can see this card in Harken decks, maybe. But
Plus,
it's
the plus
still
2 too, is it XS? I was thinking that the XS one's not a bad one to put on this guy, because suddenly for 5 energy it becomes a 4/7. And it's just, it's become a 4/7, deal 3 damage with blast 2 if you don't kill it. That's not bad. It depends how much I've paid for the act, but
sure. That's not bad, but it's still random. That's the problem, and you can't drop this guy at 5 energy. So you have to play him at 6 energy or 7 energy, and at 6 energy we have Venom Crawler or this new card Veteran Havoc, and at 7 energy we have Hellbrute.
yeah.
We have Helldrake Strike at 6 energy. I don't know.
It's not great.
It's not great.
No.
Maybe it's okay in Haken decks, but not in control decks like Abaddon or the new Warlord. It's.
You say it's a 2 or a 3?
I would say 2 stars.
Yeah. I'm leaning towards it being a bad card. I think there will be situations where it's obviously pretty good.
It's not
Draft,
a
I could
bad
see it
card
being,
at all.
I could see it being
No,
good in
no.
draft. See it being good in draft.
Yeah, in draft he's good. Yeah, that's right.
No, probably not going to make it on the constructed thing though. Now then, speaking of cards that are going to make it on the constructed front, Idolatrous Despoilers. For the rest of this battle, when an enemy troop is deployed, it gains a vulnerable 1. Now it does cost 4 energy, and does
Amazing.
not a ton the turn you play it. It does do something, but you know, depending what turn it is. But yeah, let's talk about this card because this is probably the card of the expansion, right?
Yes, that's the card. This card carried the expansion.
Yeah.
This card is the reason why you wanna play control, chaos, and this is a lot of help. And it's an amazing card. Sure, drop it, and you can't play a unit at 4 energy. You just have this effect, but this effect is all the time, so you will benefit from it in the late game. And I like it. I like this design. I like the new cards to combine with this card. It's
And
really
some of the
good.
old ones, right? Like Spawned, Traitor's Hate,
Yes, yes,
Bringer of Decay, you know, there's
right.
Helldrake
Yeah.
Strike. I mean, there's a lot of cards that are gonna just love this, right?
Yeah. The only question is, do you want to play 2 of them or only 1? That's the question. Are 2 too much? I don't know. That's the one I'm thinking about the whole time. Do I really want to play 2 of these?
Yeah. Depends whether it's a card. I mean, is it a card you want to be trying to play on 4, for example? If you want to play it on 4, then I think the answer is yes. You want to play 2 because you want to maximize the odds of, you know, of being able to draw it on E4. But if it's a card that you kind of like, well, I'm not so fussed about playing it on curve. It could be later, then maybe only 1. Especially if you're going to have card draw, things like that.
Yes. Yes.
Would you put this in? Do you think this goes in your kind of like Abaddon late game deck? Is it?
Yes.
It does.
Of course. Yeah, it does.
Does
Maybe.
Does it even just go
maybe
in everything?
Yeah, maybe two of these cards. I think Abaddon has 40 health,
Yeah.
and he can also heal himself. So if you can play this card, then of course in Abaddon decks, maybe you can play only 1 card in Harken decks or the new Warlord, the Galleon deck.
Yeah.
But in Abaddon deck, I think yes, you can play 2 of them.
Yeah. And obviously, we'll come on to the Warlord in a minute, but the Warlord's ability to give vulnerable 1 obviously suddenly gets better, because if this is already down, that becomes 2. If you've run 2 of these, then that becomes vulnerable 3, which is insane, by the way, to be able to put vulnerable 3 on something every turn.
Yeah,
It just speeds games up, doesn't it? It's like the counter to Orcs, Grist Scarboy, the armor. You know, where that's enabled Orcs to kind of slow games down and drag it out to fatigue. Chaos can just sort of say, I don't think so. We're going to speed it right back up, and we're going to probably play bigger, badder units than you towards the end game. So good luck.
Yeah.
It obviously even just putting 1 of these means that suddenly drones aren't a problem. Abaddon can just clear a drone every turn, for example.
Yes. Yeah.
It's a 5 out of 5. I don't know how you can look at this and give it anything other than a 5 out of 5. This is a super S tier card, right?
Of course. Of course.
I mean, are there any drawbacks to it in your eyes?
Yeah, the only drawback is that you can't play a troop on turn 4 if you play a card, and you still have to trade. So it's
yeah.
So the Warlord needs much health. That's the way to do it, in my opinion. You need much health to make profit of it.
Yeah.
Because often you will also trade with your Warlord.
Yeah. So I mean, if the meta becomes super aggro, this could become a worse card. If we
Yes.
have a meta that becomes, if we get decks that become kind of like stratagem heavy, for example. Like, here's an example. Let's say Orcs play what's it? Not Grot Tower, but that's another example. But I'm thinking of the one that gives us 3 Gretchen.
God, I don't know all the Orcs cards.
You know what I mean, anyway. The
Yeah,
Gretchen
I
mob.
know.
Gretchen mob.
Yeah,
Gretchen mob,
yeah, yeah.
Well, that's a stratagem, isn't it? So
It is.
would
Yeah.
they not have vulnerable? Because they're not enemy troops. Well, I mean, I suppose the bodies are right, but the card's a stratagem.
Yeah.
So would they get vulnerable? That's what
Yes.
that's what I'm wondering. And I think there are other examples where you play I can't think off the top of my head, but where you play it
I
as a
think-
stratagem and it draws a card.
I think they will get vulnerable.
I think they will.
Yeah. A good question.
Yeah, I'm not sure, because that could be a good play around.
Yeah.
And it would also open up a design space for that type of thing. But we're talking about some very niche things, and right now the meta's not there anyway. So I think right now this is going to be great. It's going to be very powerful. It's going to be a great counter to Tau and dealing with drones. It's going to be a great counter to Orcs and dealing with armor.
Yeah.
Obviously just makes Tyranid's woes continue. So yeah, this looks pretty juicy to me. Very excited about. And the other weird, crazy thing about it, it's green, right? It's like a rare card, so even if you don't want to buy the expansion, you can probably just pick this up with a couple of wild cards and you're good to go.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And
Okay,
you only need one of them for drones.
Yeah.
Because of the 3 health.
Exactly. Super good card. Okay, speaking of legendaries, we got the Galleon's Champion. I think this was another one Ecclesiarch revealed today, and it says at the end of the turn, create as little legionary in your hand, and it also comes with a talent Bitter Blow. So great stats, right, for 3-drop. This is superb stats, like Praetorian stats, exactly what you want to see. And basically, we already talked about the Zealot Legionary, so for those who can't remember, this is the card we're talking about. So basically, it creates one of these in your hand. I always think that that is such a good ability because it's giving you essentially like free value, right? Like you don't have to play this card anytime soon, but it's given you a card, right? And plus a card that has an impact, like when you need that ping, you've got it. So that's superb. So you've got great stats, it's giving you the value, and then it comes with Bitter Blows as well. And Bitter Blows says, destroy the enemy troop with the lowest health. This to me just shines of no mucking about, but for 3 energy. This is what I think of here. I mean, like, what do you think?
Yeah, it's a really good card. The stats are good, and it's a must-have, like the Ecclesia said, in every chaos deck. And you also get a free troop at the end of the turn, and the enemy has to destroy it, or you will have a good talent.
Yeah, it makes me think of like turn 6 being able to do things like play this, and the other 3-drop that has Vanguard that also has similar stats. Forgotten his name. Things like that, like protecting him as well, and just imagine the panic on your opponent. Like, gotta get rid of it.
Or with Schemes of Fate, maybe.
That as well, yeah. Yeah, stealth. Oh my god, this is a superb legendary.
I think you can create a deck around this card.
Yeah, and he's really good in an aggro deck. Like if you think about an aggro chaos, right? Like you're playing this guy on 3, he's giving you another body because obviously aggro decks are going to have low curves, so you're going to run out of cards. He's giving you that other body that also deals damage. He's giving you like an like someone tries to put a Vanguard in your way to slow you down. He's giving you the answer to that for cheap as well with Bitter Blows. I think he could be really interesting in an aggro build, and also he's good in other builds. But I do wonder what that would look like.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
5 stars of
5 stars for me too.
Amazing card.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the only card I think that the you know, the idolatry thing is perhaps the only card that outshines this, to be honest. And even then, it's close. Like
Yeah.
they're both like super top tier S tier cards, aren't they? So
Yes.
yeah,
That's right.
yeah. I mean, I probably would say I would give the gold medal to this card because this card will change the meta. This card will damage the meta more so than than this card, if that makes sense. So yeah. Anyway, they're both brilliant cards. Chaos players, rejoice! Okay. Now, just to bring the tone down a little bit, what do you think to this guy?
This what card do you mean? Galleon?
No, the accursed Hellbrewer. Can you see that one?
The Cursed Hellbrute. Okay,
Yeah.
no, I can't see what card you are choosing.
Oh, why can't you see that? That's strange.
It's no problem. Most of the time I know which card you mean.
It's the accursed Hellbrute. The here, share again so you can see. Yeah, so basically, see, that whole time you've not been seeing that, is that right?
Yes.
So now we're on this one, accursed Hellbrute. Basically, good stats, obviously, for 8 energy. We got a 9 health, and pretty even distribution. And when a troop receives the Dark Pact, this troop gains it as well. What are your thoughts?
I was thinking about this card a lot, and I compared it with Mauler Fiend, which also costs 8 energy. And my question is, why you should play this card instead of Mauler Fiend? Mauler Fiend has also 1 armor, and his strike effect is much more terrifying than this effect. So,
yeah, 100%.
um,
Although this is probably more immediate.
at the moment, this card isn't really shining. Maybe there will be a time. I was thinking about Black Crusade with the Chaos Lord, and you drop the Black Crusade, the Chaos Lord comes first, and then this, and then other troops, and they all gain pacts, and this troop gains all the pacts of the other troops.
Yes.
It would be a dream scenario, but it's not consistent, and it will never happen. So
bit of a pipe dream.
It's it's this card is okay. The stats are solid, but I wouldn't play it in a control deck over Mauler Fiend. Or
is it
yeah.
unplayable? Is it? I mean, in draft, I think it's pretty good, but in
in draft it's okay. Yeah, for sure. But you would never play this card in ranked.
I think it might be unplayable in ranked. I think it might. I mean, at the very best, it's like bottom end of a 2, like of a bad card. But maybe it's just unplayable. Maybe this is the card that is designed for draft. You know,
yeah.
But I can't see a use for it in controlled right now.
Yeah, I think so too. It's for draft.
Yeah.
To have more cards there, and
yeah.
I would still give it 2 stars because the stats are okay. But
okay, so maybe bottom end of 2 then, rather than unplayable.
Yeah.
And
maybe there will be a time other cards drop and this card will be amazing. I don't know. So we have to wait.
Yeah, it's very, very situational, but you can think of things like where Venom Crawler's down and suddenly Dark Packs become really cheap or free even, and then, you know, like the Abden's Chosen, maybe you've got 2 of them, and then you drop this guy, and then you play double Chosen, but I mean, I don't know, it's pipe dream stuff.
I mean, most of the time you drop the Venom Crawler and the enemy is destroying the Venom Crawler, so...
Oh, of course.
Yeah. And you can't drop this card at 8 energy, you have to drop this card at 9 energy or 10 energy to drop it with a Dark Pact, and a troop has to be on the field, so...
Yeah.
I don't know.
Fair enough. No, so we're both saying that this is like pretty much like a 2 then, right? So
yeah.
Okay, so let's have a look at this card now then. We are looking at The new Warlord, the Galleon the Pious, obviously pretty standard stats, the 2-2, the 35 health. But the talent is for 2 energy, give vulnerable 1 to an enemy this turn. Doesn't stick. I've seen some people talking about it like it sticks, it doesn't. It is give it vulnerable this turn. And if the target dies this turn, then draw a card.
Yeah.
Your thoughts?
I think the Warlord is okay. He's good, in my opinion. To draw a card is always good. He will be the best Warlord against drones, I think, because of the hero power. The problem is he has 35 life. It would be better he would have 40 life like Abaddon, so you could play more like a control Warlord. You can target with his hero power also the enemy Warlord. So, in my opinion, he is more like a aggro mid-range deck type and not the control type of play, I would say.
Interesting. I've not thought about that. I've thought about it that way. So aggro mid-range because lower to the ground troops can trade more effectively. When you need to switch, you can put this guy's ability on the enemy Warlord and start to burn him down. Yeah, interesting. Interesting.
BJ?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Now I can hear you again.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, very interesting. I'm saying I can see. I'd not really thought of him as in an aggro sense, but now you've said it, I'm starting to realise that he could. Yeah, there's a very interesting aggro deck with the new other legendary. Perhaps there's a really interesting aggro build that exists here.
Yeah, I think he can be really good in a mid-range type of deck. Like the Ecclesia with Abaddon created, and but the 35 life is his problem. So it's like Gordring, like I wrote to you. It's 35 life is always a problem for Harken too, and yeah, maybe I'm wrong, and you can play him control. I
think you can play this guy as control because the difference with Harken is that Harken has to attack for his ability to work. So he has to take damage, basically.
Yes.
This guy doesn't have to actually attack for his ability to work. I mean, he probably will, in practice, have to, a lot of the time. But he doesn't literally have to, right? Like, he can play this, something else can attack, kill the thing, get the card. Like, he doesn't have, he's not forced to. I think he'll be a bit better than Harken in trying to do a control build. But you might be right that he might still not be as good as Abaddon. Because Abaddon has the 40, he has the heal. Chaos could really do with a heal card, couldn't they?
Yes, yes. I would love to change them the heal card, the 5 heal for the troop instead. For the Warlord would be better.
100%.
The effect, I don't know why they did it on the troop.
Yeah.
With the health for Chaos, but yeah.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you. But overall, what are you giving Galleon the Pious?
4 stars.
4.
It's a good card. It's an interesting Warlord, and I think he will be right under Abaddon.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you. I think he's around the same place.
And better than Harken.
So one that I revealed was Malicious Volleys. It deals 2 damage to the enemy. If it's a troop, then stun it. So you can do 2 damage to the enemy Warlord, but it won't stun the Warlord. Which is kind of interesting, because Banshee Mask, you can stun the Warlord, right?
Yeah.
So you can either use it for burn on the Warlord. So I could see it in that aggro deck that we talked about, for example. I think you would run it in that. But if it's a troop, you get the stun as well. What do you think to this card? What would you rate it?
I think the stats are pretty fair. 2 energy, 2 damage. You can also combine it with the vulnerable effect of the energy spell to the battlefield, and it does 3 damage. So I would run maybe 1 card of this in my Abaddon deck. I was thinking about it. maybe to target flying troops or to stun an enemy I can't destroy this turn. It could be in a control deck good also, so I would rate this card 3 stars.
3.
It's okay. Yeah, it's solid.
Yeah, I think 3 is about fair, to be honest. And then we had the 2-drop, the Galleon Disciple, which is I kind of messed this up a little bit when I revealed this because I said that Backlash was a new mechanic, which it's not. This is a very underused mechanic. I think there's literally 2 cards in the game that have it, which is Makari and the Squig.
Yeah.
It basically means once the unit dies.
Yes,
then the
it's like
ability triggers.
it's like Death Rattle in Hearthstone.
Death Rattle in Hearthstone, exactly. So once it dies, give vulnerable 1 to all enemy troops. And that's a vulnerable that sticks, right? It's not like just this turn.
Yes.
Not the Warlord, but enemy troops. 3 health for 2, which is good health, but only a 1/1 on the stats. Common card, what do you think?
You guys can hate me, but I don't really like this card.
Yeah.
It's, I mean, imagine it's 2 energy and it's your turn, and you will not drop this card at 2 energy if the enemy maybe has only 1 troop. So it would be a waste to drop this troop only for one enemy troop. So the dream scenario is the enemy has full of troops, his field, and you want to drop this, and all the enemy troops should get the vulnerable effect, and you destroy the troops. But the problem is you drop it and it does nothing in the turn you drop it. So
Yeah.
it has to die to do anything.
Yeah.
The stats are pretty shit. I mean, 1/1 and 3 life is, you don't want that this card lives, you want that this card dies. So I was hoping that the reinforcement drop maybe gives us a card to destroy our own troop to make it reasonable to play this troop, but maybe it's good and I'm totally wrong, but I would rate this card 1 star. I don't like it. Yeah, I don't like it. I don't see a scenario where it's good. Maybe in an extremely aggro deck.
Okay.
But
so let me try and make the case for it then, because I'd probably have it towards the top end of 3. So I think with this card, right, you for it to be good, it needs to work in a way where it's working for you if it's alive and it's working for you if it dies. I think you're evaluating it based on how do I get it to die and get vulnerable. I'm looking at it like, okay, how do I make this good whether it lives and good whether it dies? So it's like a bit of a headache for the opponent, because it's like, well, what do I do? Because if I leave it, it's bad. If I kill it, it's bad. So the classic for me would be something like Tau to start with. So what this allows me to do is play against drones with, say, Abaddon, right? Because I drop this on 2, but you play a drone, okay? You play a drone. Now I can trade. So I almost think of it as like +1 for my +1 attack for my Warlord, right? Like if you don't kill it, okay, now I can deal 3 damage, right? So I can kill the drone, right? I could hit the drone here. I'd only take 1 health, and I could hit the drone with my Warlord. And then even next turn, if you decide to not kill it, which you could because I'm down to 2 health, I can actually attack your Warlord if I then need it to die, and then it would die. So I'm kind of in control of it either way. If you don't do it, then I can trade again, giving my Warlord the +1. So it's almost like a Makari, if you think you could think of it like a Makari, giving my Warlord +1, except for it's +1 melee and range, whereas Makari is only +1 melee. Similar stealth units, you think about Gene Stealers. So for example, you know, I can drop this. You've got a choice. You can't kill it with your Warlord. Well, actually, Swarmlord can. So Swarmlord is obviously different here, because Swarmlord can choose to kill it before he plays the Broodlord. Sorry, before he plays the Gene Stealer is what I meant.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking like things like that in that scenario where you could play this and then attack and obviously chip away, and then killing it. Obviously, you can put the one on the Gene Stealer, for example, and which is in stealth. But I really do think it's pretty good against Tau. Specifically, I think that's the one that it's a bit of a headache in terms of what you do against it. You know, even helping you just to clear a Vanguard drone, for example. So I actually think it's great as an early drop against them. The other thing is Chaos don't actually have many good 2-drops. I don't know that it's great late game, because like that's where I think your point really comes in, because if you're dropping this late game, you're really looking for the backlash ability.
Yes.
And you can't kill it immediately, and that's where I think it's a bit crap, to be honest. But on turn 2, I think it could be pretty good in establishing tempo. So, and also like let's just think about this. Give vulnerable bombs on all enemy troops.
It's hard to say. I mean, legionary is has 2 energy 2, and it's a much better card in my eyes than this card.
Yeah, but if you kill it, there's no threat from that.
I know what you mean, but he has to trade with the card, so maybe I'm wrong, and this card is okay, and but in my head I can't find a scenario where this card is good. Actually,
well, is that not a good scenario? What I've given there, like, granted it is only like the early turns, but against Tau, is that not a good scenario?
Yes, yeah, sure, it's a good scenario, but only against this faction. Against all other factions, I don't know.
I mean, things like the DS8 drones, Squigs, like, would they then suddenly be worried about triggering vulnerable?
But I have to change one card with this card. So, first of all, I can't play this card in my Black Crusade.
I don't think it goes in your Black Crusade.
Yes, if I play Black Crusade and this card drops,
oh no, it doesn't go in that deck. If you're evaluating it based on whether it goes in your Black Crusade late.
No.
But if you're trying to fight for tempo, if you're losing as a Chaos player because the meta is, you know, like, imagine the meta is Uriel and drone spam, you know, aggro drones, then I could see this card having a role to play, because it really hurts that. Like, again, you know, you can think about Uriel. You know, like, Uriel plays 3 health units on turn 2, you know, Firstborn, Sternguard Sergeant. This helps you trade. It helps you trade with those, with your Lord. The Vulnerable helps you trade with them off the Lord. Like, it really helps in a tempo aggro matchup. But you're right, it doesn't belong in your late game deck.
Not only Black Crusade. Okay, maybe it's good in a Harken deck or more aggro-based deck. Yes, of course. Yeah. Okay, 2 stars, not more. 2 stars.
Alright, I'll meet you in the middle. We'll go 2 stars. So that's everything. That is all of the cards. So let's, if I just come onto here. So I just want to get a few kind of like closing thoughts then. Let's just talk about, now that we've seen all the cards. This is not actually, I made this, it's not actually showing you every single card here, like there's a couple missing, as in I think some of the talents. But now you've seen, looking at all the cards, how do you think this reinforcement is going to affect Chaos? How's it going to change the faction? How do you think it's going to impact the meta? What are some of your thoughts? And also, it'd be good to get you to. I'd love to hear. I know you've been theory crafting a little bit with different warlords, and what you're thinking.
I think Chaos will have a much better matchup against Tau now, after the reinforcement release. There are also more options for certain cards, so I like it too. And yeah, I think it will definitely affect the Chaos faction, and we will see a rise maybe in the top again, and I will try my best. and create some new decks with my Black Crusade. I definitely want to test the spoilers, so I'm really excited for that. And also, like you said, the veteran Havoc is a really interesting card, and yeah, I think it was a really good reinforcement drop, and better than the needs one, and yeah. So yeah, it
Cool.
will be a good season for Chaos, I think.
And Galleon the Pious, what are you thinking for him in terms of? Is he? So do you think he's going to make more of a mid-range type of build rather than full-on control or aggro or?
I think we will more see a mid-range type of deck for him,
Yeah.
and he will be better if more enemies are playing Tau. So he's very favorite in the Tau matchup, and so maybe he will be the best Warlord for Chaos this season if if the if the people are playing Tau the whole time, and
Which they are. So you think short term
yeah.
he might be the flavour, but you actually think Abaddon might have benefited overall better in the long run?
Yes, I still think that Abaddon is the best control Warlord for Chaos. I will definitely post my new Black Crusade deck in the Chaos Discord server, and we'll try some stuff, and yeah, we will see if I can go top 10 again or not.
Of course you can. Of course you can. These
I
cards are
hope so.
meta defining.
Yeah.
There's I don't know what deck is, but I think there's perhaps two or three new decks. Maybe one's going to be an evolution like your deck. That's perhaps it's an evolution rather than a revolution. And but I think there's going to be 2 or 3 chaos decks that are highly competitive after this. There's some super powerful cards. Can't
Yeah,
wait to
that's
try
true.
this guy, Galarian's Champion. I'm really looking forward to trying Havoc, the Despoilers. Yeah, there's it's definitely a very powerful reinforcement drop, that's for sure.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes. That's true.
I also,
Yeah.
in terms of the meta, I think Orcs, I think the armor will struggle if this Despoilers card does really catch on. I think that will really help counter the armor. I also think it'll help, obviously, against Tau. I actually think that Eldar might benefit quite a lot from this expansion because, you know, what the Eldar struggle with, they struggle with big, beefy units, armor, that type of thing, right?
Yeah,
Well,
that's right.
this is going to make that thing go away, right? Because no one's going to want to play big units that are going to get melted by vulnerable. And so that really...
Yeah, but vulnerable isn't so good against armored units. I mean, imagine I drop a Hellbrute, so, and it gets maybe, I don't know, three vulnerable. It's still 1 damage because of the 2 armor.
It's weird, isn't it? So vulnerable 1,
Yeah,
vulnerable 1
it's
is good
weird.
against armor, but vulnerable 3
Yeah.
is not good against... Yeah, I know.
No.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you stack it, it isn't so good.
Mm.
Like a Venom Crawler, you need... If you have 2 vulnerable on the Venom Crawler, it still does only 1 damage.
True. No, that's that example. That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
So chaos will still be beefy, but I think Tyranids will go away. I think a lot of units. I think a lot of factions will drop a lot of the beefy non-armored units, and I think that'll benefit Eldar because Eldar are very good at like tempoing out and swarming and dealing with smaller units quickly. And
Yeah, that's right.
so I think I could really see chaos and Eldar, probably Galleon, maybe Zephyr Blade, but yeah, I could really see those either stealing the meta or at least becoming much more powerful in the meta. Sure. Yeah. And do you think there's do you think there's an aggro build that could be competitive as a result of this? Ooh, have I lost you? Hello, hello. I think I might have lost you. Alright. Well, I seem to have lost Barrick there. Right at the end. But yeah, seem to have lost Barracks. I think the connection has gone a little bit, but I hope you guys enjoyed that. That's been kind of informative. The Chaos release will be out very, very soon, and I hope you guys have a lot of fun. I think the meta is going to be shaken up massively, and yeah. Let me know in the comments what you think. Let me know how you see what you're planning on doing with your Chaos decks. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. And obviously, a huge thank you, huge thank you to Buggy for coming on. I think I called him Barrick there because he did some recording with Barrick, it's a recording with Buggy. They're both heroes. But yeah, big thanks to Buggy for coming on and helping us out and giving us his expert thoughts on the Chaos faction. Until next time, guys, take it easy.